What's up, everybody? Good morning. Thank you all for tuning in to my 36th episode of Project Renaissance Man. Today's subject is going to be on putting anxiety in its place, taking control no matter where you're at, and just having that poise, having that calm, and not letting things get to you, and being in control. So I'm going to provide you guys with 5 pointers. The very first one I like more than almost all of them because it's just very effective. But that is to be present, even in the most mundane of tasks. Focus on what you're doing. So when you're shaving, you may have a big day ahead of you, but take your time shaving. Pay attention to the detail. Get wrapped up in giving your full attention to the shaving. Same way with taking a shower. When you're scrubbing yourself, pay close attention to everything you're doing. This practice is being mindful, which is also a way to make sure you're in control of your thoughts, because you're practicing focus, and focus is really what we need a lot of times when we're in situations where there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of frenzy. We need to stay together. We can't lose our heads. We can't unravel. So being present is huge. And this especially applies to conversation. So if you're out with somebody or you're speaking to a barista about your order, pay attention to your interaction, your exchange with that person. Don't really worry about what's going on around you, all the commotion, anything like that. You don't need to be distracted. Just keep your mind together. The second pointer is to understand that everyone has their own stories, and I've mentioned this before. So nobody's hung up on thinking about what's going on in your life. If they are, there's a problem. Yeah, they have their own things to contend with. Their mind is flooded with their own craziness. So you can't feel like everybody is looking at you, is paying attention to you, is watching to see when you're going to stumble and you're going to fail. Anybody like that has a sad existence. So you can just totally dismiss of those people if they're out there. But if they're not, the majority aren't those types of people. They got their own things to deal with. So don't put so much of a light on yourself. The third pointer, learn to laugh at your mistakes. So if you knock over a cup of coffee, you're not blowing up a country. Don't let it, don't make it bigger than what it is. It's a very small deal. Just pick your coffee up, maybe laugh a little bit, wipe the table off, because I think it's important for us to find humor in those things. If you trip over a sidewalk or whatever you do, don't make light of it. Fourth pointer, practice staying loose. Looseness is great because what it does is it reminds our brains that of how to be. So if I'm walking loose or I'm fighting loose or dancing loose, all these things you perform best when you're loose. And that's how life is. When you're at an interview and you're loose, that's when you perform the best. You're free. You're not constrained. You're not boxing yourself up and feeling cramped. So you want to stay loose. And when I mentioned about it, reinforce, reminding your brain that you're loose or that you should be relaxed. It's basically saying to your brain, this is the way I'm supposed to be. And your brain acknowledges and honors that. The fifth pointer I have is getting away from the static. So I live in a city right now, and I voluntarily enter into the static. But I like the energy. It's nice to have that lively, vigorous energy every so often. But even if you're very much so high energy, you still at times need to get away from that, need to disconnect, need to recharge, because it takes a lot of your energy out of you. There's a lot of overstimulation. There's traffic. There are people walking all over the place. There's noise. Your senses are just under siege constantly. So when you're in that type of environment, and that environment is great in a lot of ways. In fact, it conditions you to develop more of a resistance or not a resistance, a resilience to it. You can withstand much more of it, when you put yourself in there, and you become more comfortable with it. But at the same time, it's extremely important for us to disconnect from time to time. And what I highly recommend is some ecotherapy. So go far away from all that, maybe where there's a little solitude. Walk down a country road, walk down a trail that's surrounded by trees and birds and nature, and there's not a car within miles from you. It's amazing how much that can help you. And ecotherapy helped me a lot when I was dealing with my most severe of anxiety in my life. When I hit my bottom, and I was in a very, very dark place, and I never doubted that I would not get out of it, because I'm very determined, and I just have too much confidence in my ability and trust in myself. And but anyways, yes, ecotherapy is wonderful. It's a great medicine, and there aren't any side effects. So I'm going to let you guys go on this note. If you all have enjoyed watching this video and you feel you have benefited from it, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you all on Saturday. Later.